Hey guys, today we are going to show you how to play an objective challenge in the Harry Potter Knights Models game, the miniature game. So we chose an objective challenge as opposed to kind of like adventures
or campaigns
or cooperative play, because it seemed like the easiest way to start learning how to play this game. If you look at A Death of a Prefect, it has a maximum of 4 rounds that you play, and each round has a number of phases in a round. So this kind of game takes about an hour. It took us an hour and a half because
we didn't know what we were doing.
So it took us a little bit longer. So I think once you know how to play an objective challenge, you'll actually be able to go through it a lot quicker. So the first thing we did was we chose a board. So in this case, we chose the Hogwarts board.
Well, it does tell you what to use on the description. So we chose Death of a Prefect because it's short, and then it tells you it's got these 3 boards, and then it has an objective marker.
Which in this case is this little...
one of these little things.
Little trunks, just so that you know. And in this case, it's a port key. It's known as a port key. So you put an objective marker just to show where the characters are trying to get to. And in this game, you've got a player A and a player B, so you can have different associations, and we'll show you what an association is in a minute, because you can have, we'll just show you quickly. So you can have like Death Eaters, you can have Death Eaters,
or you can have shared association, which is, for example, Hogwarts and Death Eater.
Or you can have like just Hogwarts, or you can have magical creatures, or sometimes magical creatures and Hogwarts. So someone like
Death
Dobby.
Eaters, magic creatures.
So there's
like
a combination. So you just basically choose what association you're with. So like player A or player B, and then that's the starting off point.
So first amongst yourselves decide who's player A and who's player B, and then you go into your deck of characters, and you choose which affiliation or sort of combined affiliation that you want. So I went for, I went for Death Eater, but then I can also use people who are just half Death Eater, like this is Pansy Parkinson. So she is half Death Eater, half Hogwarts.
What we should explain as well is why you have to choose certain characters. If you see here on your cards, you have a value in galleons as to what the gameplay can be. So in this case, we had 30. We decided on 30 galleons so that we could play a shorter game, but you can play longer games for 50 or up to 100 galleons.
So the book says the average is 50, and if you want to play a short game, it's 30, and if you want to play longer games or campaigns, it's like 75 to 100.
And you have to have in your galleon count enough points left to be able to buy potions and spells and objects.
Exactly.
So you'll see, even though this is 25, is it 25? Yeah, 25. Then the rest is spent on cards, so for other things.
Exactly.
So Julia's going to show you how she did it.
I purchased some spells to go with it. You can see here, which I added to the characters. So characters, the bottom, you can see they have slots. Pansy, for example, only has 1 slot. And Draco has 2 slots, and Umbridge also has 2 slots. And these are known as the spell book. So I can use 2 spells for Umbridge, 2 for Draco, and 1 for Pansy. Now there's some exceptions to that, but let's just roll with that now. And then, so that's 4 galleons. I had 1 galleon left to 30. And then I also purchased this fog glass for Draco, which again is a special, like it just adds special rules. Exactly.
Cool. So, and then we'll show you. So that's Julia's one. So she's obviously got her Death Eaters. And then I've got, on my side, I've got... my group is made out of Luna and Gilderoy and Hermione, and then you can see they all come with different spells that are inherent in their thing, but mine again was to make up for the same spell points. So I've got, with Hermione, I had a Time Turner and I had a potion, so those are Polyjuice, and so she's got like an object and a potion because she's a potioneer, which you'll see there, which we'll explain in a second. In her traits. And then on hers she's also got a spell, Petrificus Totalis, and then for Gilderoy he had 1 card spot, so I put Expelliarmus under there, And then on Luna's, I gave her a spell book, which is basically, I think I chose the wrong card, just so you know. It was almost like an extension. A spell book allows her to have an additional slot, so she could almost have 3 spells, but I didn't know that at the time, so anyway.
So basically we did choose some cards which would not make sense in the situation that we were playing, but that's because it was our first game and we didn't know what we were doing. So we did learn along the way.
Okay. So do you want to show what those other
so
things
okay,
are?
for each spell, basically let's look at the spell cards. So you can see this is the same thing, just like downscaled a bit. You have a range for each spell, which is here along the side. And you can see on the board, so I'm just going to put Pansy down so we can see. So, okay. So if Pansy tried to attack Lockhart, and the range of the spell is 4, then you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, which works. But it could also be diagonally, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then, so it's like you just have to check, or here 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just need to make sure you hit your opponent with a spell within the range, otherwise there's no use using it. And then this, so I bought these spells, right? I bought them, this is the cost, so I bought them with 1 galleon. And then when I want to use the spell, now then the power points come into play. So you can see every character has a cunning value. It's here, the bottom of the triangle. So this is 2, 3, 2. You add these together, and these are your power pool. So in my case, this is 7 in total. And you can see that this is white. Pansy has basically good magic. And then Malfoy and Umbridge both have both types. Exactly, it's the white circle around the black circle.
So in her case, Julia can choose the combination.
I can choose the combinations. And you can see here that I have to pay specific types of magical points, or power points as they call them, for certain spells. So this spell, Confringo, and also Crucio, only take black magic. So I definitely need some dark magic for those. And then the others, like the grey ones, take either black or white. So what I did is I had to get 2 white ones because of Pansy, but then the rest I chose black ones because I could choose either because they are white and black. The rest I chose black because I can use those for the majority, like for all of my spells basically. So I did that. So if I wanted to use Silencio, I would check, does the range match? And then if it does, I can spend one of these or one of these to cast the spell. And then that goes out of my accumulated power pool for that round. So I would go like, whoop, that one's gone. And now I have 6 left to use for my other characters. So, and then you can see, so if I do this, if I use a spell, shall we do that now? Or shall we
show those?
Starting point. So before you start using a spell, you have like a cooldown clock. So this is what it looks like when you haven't used the spell yet, or when it's already cooled down. So when I now decide to use it against someone, I turn it over. So this is the cooldown, this is the spell in its activated phase. You see it's got a little marker up here, the cooldown clock. It's red now, which means it's in use.
At the end of the round.
Exactly. So this is basically me using the spell. And once the round is over, I can put it here, which means it's on the first cooldown marker. That means I cannot use it within that round. So I have to wait. So each activation, so basically in each round, each character of each group gets an activation phase where they can do something.
So they can move, or they can cast a spell, or take a potion,
something like that.
Yeah.
Or like attack someone. So for each of these activation phase, the cooldown clock moves 1 further. So basically this Silencio spell, I would use that in this round and the cooldown clock would be here. Then the next round it would move to this, and then the round after that. And you can see here there's no cooldown too, so I can keep turning it. So basically, and then it's back to 0. So what that means is this will only be out of the game for one round. So there's one round where you cannot use this. So for Crucio, for example, you can see that it actually has 2 cooldowns on each side, cooldown 1 and cooldown 2. That means that this, once you use this curse, Crucio, it's going to be out of play for 2 rounds in between. So you have to wait 2 rounds to use it again. So that means if you only have a game that lasts 4 rounds, as we do have with Death of a Prefect, there's not much of a chance you're going to use it again. You might use it twice, like in the first round and then the last round, but you just need to remember that actually this is very important, like the cooldown time. And some of there's always a cooldown time between 1 and 3. So if you have a cooldown time of 3 on one of your spells and it's only a maximum of 4 rounds for that game, then obviously you have to be aware that you can use that spell only once. Okay. So, shall we go through the phases?
Sure.
Okay, so in this objective, we're just gonna start playing this now. So basically, this says that we put down the objective, we put down the board, we've chosen our players, and now
we can place the players.
Exactly. So this says, so I'm player B, you're player A. This says player B puts theirs down first. So basically, the objective of this is player A, which is the Hogwarts students, plus Lockhart, tries to get the prefect.
So I've got to nominate a prefect. So in my case, let's say I made my prefect Luna, because I think, okay, well, Luna...
but I put mine down first.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, so I would have like Luna, and I'd say, okay, well, Luna's my prefect, so I want to get Luna to that portkey. That is my objective. And all that Julia's team is doing is blocking me from getting to that thing. So Julia first needs to lay her players down, and then I will lay my players down to try and figure out how to get to that portkey sooner.
And so it says, it names the victory conditions here, which is like, if the prefect is removed from the game, player B, which is me, scores 5 victory points. If the prefect is still in play when the game ends, remember that's a maximum of 4 rounds, then player A scores 5 victory points. But the game can end sooner, of course, which is if the prefect marker is carried to the portkey, player A scores 3 victory points. Anyway, okay, so one of these 3 things can happen and it will distribute victory points. So let's see. And player B, which is me, puts down their players, their figures first. So I'm gonna place my models how I think it makes sense. So I'm putting Umbridge right by the portkey, and then I'm putting Pansy here, and then just to spread it out a bit, because I don't know where player A, so Amanda is gonna place hers. I'm gonna put Malfoy here. Okay, and now player A can place her
players anywhere we need.
Exactly. So it's pretty much, I mean, once you get a feeling for it, then you can already start strategizing. But since we've just started, so
I think also what's good to know is that most players can move 3 spaces immediately. So they each at the beginning of each round. So knowing that your players can move means like I don't really want to put Luna there immediately, even though technically she could win immediately. That's no point because I know Julia's
she has to be a marker, so we're gonna have to explain that because it doesn't say the prefect goes there, it says the marker goes there.
Okay, well anyway, so so that's just, I mean, for whatever reason I'll just put Luna there.
Okay, cool. So we have them nicely spread out here, so you can see. And now the person starting is the person with the biggest points
in their
pool.
Team.
So the biggest magic points pool. So you'll remember that based on these numbers, we've accrued our accumulated pool of power of points that that all of them can use.
So in this case, Julia has more than me because I've only got 5 because mine have 2, 1, and 2.
And I have 7.
Yeah.
So I'm starting. So I would now choose a character to start with. So let's see. So let's say I choose Malfoy to attack Luna. I would then check my cards. So first of all, I need to check, am I in the range? So that's easy. I'm like 1, 2. That's a very short range. And all of my spells have either 5 or 4 in range, which is quite good. So then I obviously, Malfoy, like Draco, can only cast the spells. Exactly, yeah. I need to put the countdown clocks on. That's very true. There we go. So he can obviously only cast the spells that he has. He has 2 spells, Petrificus Totalis and Alate Ascendare. This one just puts the petrify effect on someone, which means they're basically petrified and can't do anything for the next activation. Or I use the combat spell, and this is called Death of a Prefect, so I guess I'm going to try to attack Luna. So I'm going to use the Alate Escandare spell. So I can see that this has a magical cost of 2 in sort of grey area. And I'm just going to use 2 of these to pay for it. Because it's grey, I can use either one. I'm choosing one of each. So I paid for that. The range is fine. Exactly. I've activated the spell, so I'm turning it to the red side, so I know that's used now. And now the die come into play. So I'm gonna cut. So basically, what these 2 ones mean. So every character has ones in this position. As you see, Pansy, for example, only has 1. Malfoy has 2, and they're the automatic success points that I have, which comes into play when I try to attack someone. So he has 2 automatic success points, and I use 3 die, which is the normal number, to roll for more success points. Because the more success points I have, the more likely is it that Luna can't counter. Exactly, that Luna can't defend herself. So let's see. I've got 2. And now this is very good. So anything that's above, so 3 and above is a success. So you can see all of these. This counts as a 6, but also it's a symbol. And when I get a symbol, so this is the Deathly Hallows symbol, I can roll again. So this is like the highest number.
Far she has 2, and then she's got 3, 4, 5. And
5 successes, and I am allowed to roll this one again. So I'm going to do that. And it's
6.
another symbol, which means I'm allowed to roll again.
6.
I've got 6. And 7. And 1 again. This is really lucky. 8. So I've got 8. This is a huge number, and it's almost impossible to one-up that.
Okay, so I've obviously got Luna.
So to when you block something, so she's now going to roll for defense. You can see this is her automatic defense success, her shielding success. That's 1.
And I have to technically get 8. Because I have to surpass Julian's.
In order to successfully block me, she has to surpass the number I rolled, which was 8. So now she has 4 in total because she's got her shield plus 3 defense successes. So that means
I get a
this
point.
play. If you this actually, so I succeeded in casting this spell, which now means it's a combat spell. If target model doesn't have the fly rule, which she doesn't, Luna can't fly, it suffers 2 damage. So the damage points are actually these little things here. There's 2 different types. I'm just gonna take out one of the other ones as well. So this yellow one signifies 1 damage point. And then if you turn that around, so let's say, so this one casts 2 damage at Luna. So it's not only yellow because that's 1, but I'm turning it around and then it's 2 damage. So what Amanda will do is put these 2 damage points next to Luna, and they stay there as a reminder of how much damage Luna has suffered. And damage points in general go up to 4. So after a character has suffered more than 4 damage points, they're out of the game. They're basically dead. So Luna has 2 now. So yellow is 1, orange is 2. And then when she suffers more damage, you have to exchange it for one of the others. So purple is 3 damage points. And pink, that's the final one, is 4 damage points. So, okay. So we've given Luna 2 damage points. They're there. And does it say anything else? Nope, just that it suffers 2 damage. So this part is done. You can see it's on cooldown now. That's fine. That means...
Draco's turn is done.
Well, it doesn't have to be done, because that was the advanced action. But then characters also have a basic action, which is either taking a potion or moving. So Malfoy can't do anything with potions, but he can move. I'm just going to do that maybe to block Luna a little. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and stay here.
So now I can choose, because it's another round. It's okay. It's another round, so I can choose to move any of my characters. I don't necessarily have to move Luna. I can choose Hermione or even Gilderoy to do it. So in my case, I'm just gonna decide on something to do. So let's say I'll take something interesting. So Hermione has a lot of things that she can do. In this case, I figured out you can't use Polyjuice Potion in this objective round. It doesn't really do anything, so you won't really see me use that. But let's say I want to use my Time Turner. A Time Turner allows me in this game to actually move an additional 3 spaces to my 3 spaces. So I can actually move 6 spaces, or I can perform a Petrificus Totalis or a counter spell, but obviously I'm not being attacked right now, so I don't need a counter spell. So really what I could do is I could try and move so that I'm in range to use my Petrificus Totalis, so that I can petrify someone and stop them from using the round. So in this case, maybe because 1, 2, 3 would get me in a range of 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Technically, even just using my normal move means I don't have to use my Time Turner. I can really just be there, and then I could perform my Petrificus Totalis on Umbridge in this case.
Because it has a range of 4.
Yeah, exactly, because it has a range of 4. So I'm going to do that, which means that because I have a difficulty, I can perform that spell because I've already got more mastery points than the difficulty on it, and I've automatically got 2 before I even roll as to my success. Yeah. So I need to pay these 2, like we said before. I'm going to pay...
The bottom right-hand corner, you can see.
I'm going to pay so that I can use that. Oh, actually, what I haven't done is actually placed my my spell thing. Cooldown clock onto here before I even perform the spell. So, yeah, so in order to do this, I'm now going to activate my Petrificus Totalis. So even whether it succeeds or doesn't, I still need to show that I used it. And then I'm going to roll, and this is quite good. So I've got my 2 points from my mastery, and I've got an additional 1, 2, 3, and I can, so that's 5, and I can roll these 2 again, 5, so 6, and then 7.
Wow,
so,
that is high.
Yeah, so I've got a 7, so that means that Umbridge now has to roll an 8 in order to defend herself.
Yeah, and you can see Umbridge has 1 shield, so she has 1 automatic defense. So I have to roll... What did you roll? 7. So I have to roll 7 additional ones in order to block this, which is also nigh impossible. So yeah, so I have 2 in total. That is very low.
So what that means is that now this petrify effect has to be placed on Umbridge, and
let me get a petrify effect out. So petrify is this little crystal thing. Oh, sorry, there. So this petrify effect stays on until the end of Umbridge's next activation. So I haven't used Umbridge yet in this round, so that basically means I can't use her in this round. And afterwards, for the next round, she's fine again. So I place this next to her card, like we did with the damage on Luna earlier. So it's a reminder.
The round ends, that can be lifted.
Exactly, it's a reminder that I can't use her in this round.
Okay, so now because Julia can't, she might not have been using Umbridge next anyway. So technically, she could use Pansy, and then I just use 2 characters in a row.
Exactly.
Or I
so
could really
you always play it like
1 for 1.
So the player with the initiative plays the first character, and then its player A's turn and play a B's turn again, and so on and so forth. So you switch. It's not like you can't play all of your characters at once, unless everyone else is petrified, which might be an option. It's always like one plays and then the other plays. So anyway, I guess I'll just play Pansy, because I can't play Umbridge. I've already played Malfoy this round. Let's see what Pansy can do. So I could either stupefy someone, which does 1 physical damage, or I could, let's see, Silencio, which prevents someone to cast a spell in the next round. Now let's see whom I actually close to. So we know I can move, so I could reach Hermione.
And have a good range.
Exactly. I could reach Hermione, or I could also reach Lockhart. I can't really reach Luna with what I have right now, because you can see if I do 1, 2, 3, and then I still can't reach her with a range of 4, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, so I wouldn't be able to reach Luna with Pansy.
1, 2, 3, 4, you would still be 1 short, so yeah.
Exactly, I would be 1 short. So what I could do is I could decide to either attack Hermione or attack Lockhart. So Hermione,
depending on if you wanted to move. So
exactly. I don't have a potion, so it's always free for me. Like, I can always move if I want to. So let's see. I think Hermione is the more powerful character. Like, if you look at the character cards, you can see Hermione has a lot of defense. She's quite good at offensive. She has a counter spell even, which is very powerful. So basically Hermione really has it going on here, because she's got an extra potion and extra artifact as well. And then Lockhart does do Obliviate in Expelliarmus, but you can see his defenses are lower. Maybe I want to attack Lockhart then, actually, because Pansy is quite weak herself. As you can see, she has no defense, so no automatic defense, and has just 1 power. So I feel like I have a better chance against Lockhart, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. And then
your spell is in range, right?
My spell is in... I am doing Stupefy, yes. So I'm going to cast Stupefy, which means I have to pay 1. I'm going to pay for this with this one. And I'm going to activate my spell. Oh. And then I will roll. So I have 1 automatic success point here. There's 1 wand. And then let's see what else I can do. Yeah, so it's just 2 in the end, which would be quite easy to counter probably. So now we can see what Lockhart can do against that. So we see he has 1 shield. Yeah. So he has to roll 2 more success points. And that just happens to... Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's 4 in total. So 4 is more than 2.
That's the shield.
That's fine.
So it means the spell shields. Yeah, exactly.
That means, okay, so he blocked the spell, but it's still on cooldown for me because I still cast it. And I still spent the energy on it. So yeah.
So I think you get the idea here is that basically every move has something going on. You really need to kind of figure out your strategy as you're playing as to maybe which spell would work. Like,
but also beforehand.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, so you can try. It takes a little bit of thinking in the beginning. But let's say Julia hadn't moved Pansy there and she had used a different spell. Like if she had used the Silencio and succeeded against Hermione, which it would have blocked.
Would have been a very slim chance. So you also got to calculate your chances.
Yes. Yeah. But let's say she had succeeded in doing that, then it means the next round Hermione, who is the most powerful spell, like person who can do spells on my board,
and she
wouldn't have been able to do it.
Exactly.
But then if Julia had looked, I'd used the only spell I can really actively use because it's already been played. So then blocking me wouldn't have made a difference.
No, this is also a spell, so you couldn't have been able to
defend myself. Yeah, but that's what I mean. So it's basically just trying to figure out strategy as you're playing it. And again, the objective is to get this character, because that's my prefect, to that safely within the 4 rounds that you're playing, right? If someone had actually damaged Luna enough times to kill her off before... Yeah.
So this is 4 damage points, and then if I damaged her again, then she would have been taken off the field. But then the rules for this says that you can put down
A marker.
an
of some
objective
sort.
marker, so it doesn't actually matter which one you use. Let's just get another objective marker. So she gets taken off the field, but anywhere near her, you look, so in the vicinity, which is like any field around her, you place this objective marker.
Which means that one of my other players have to come and fetch that objective marker.
Pick it up,
and then
take
move
it
with
to the
it.
portkey.
Because they technically are taking over the challenge as it is, but it
Exactly.
lets the other ones be in play to do it. So I think those are the main things
Yeah.
of an objective challenge that need
And
to
again,
be looked at.
it's a maximum of 4 rounds. So if none of this gets done within 4 rounds, then it's basically a draw. Because if nobody kills the prefect, which would be victory points, or if nobody reaches the portkey, then
The game
oh
is-
no, actually no, it's not a draw, because then I would win, because
Yeah,
I've
because you did.
successfully kept you from reaching the portkey. That would be
Yes.
like what, 5
5
points or
plus
something
the-
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's always one winning one side.
So we'll continue figuring this out and trying to share our knowledge. We would have recorded a whole game, but it really does take a long time to do it. So I
Yeah.
think if you got the basics, give it a try,
Yeah,
and
I
let us
think-
know if you have any questions, and we'll try and help you.
We will probably do the next video on trying to figure out how to build up your team, because we're only just figuring that out ourselves. And there's things like traits, which are, you can see here at the bottom of each character cards. This is very little, like Pansy has very, very few traits, but you can see some of the characters have a few more. And some of the professors, the more powerful characters, they actually have even 2 columns of traits. So that'll be quite interesting to figure out what you can do with that.
Yeah, because the traits can be used on the different challenges in different ways against magical creatures. Like we noticed that Luna has a magical creatures expert, and all of these are Hogwarts school
Characters,
affiliations,
yeah.
right? But because of Luna's her expert, she can, even though a magical creature might not be in the Hogwarts one, she can bring one in to her team
Exactly.
because she exists
So
as that
even
magical
though
creature.
it won't have a Hogwarts affiliation, that creature, she can still bring one in if it's a magical creature, because she has the expertise in that field.
To help look after them. Or
So there's
deal
a
with
lot
them.
of things like that. Also, when you look at spells and some objects, they will sort of change around the rules. And in general, it's like this, that if you have a special rule, it's going to overrule the basic rule. So
It takes a lot of reading. That's why you need this
Exactly.
rule book, and it is your Bible. You are going to go through it over and over and back and
so
forth.
we came back to this to have a look at what are markers again? What's the terrain doing?
What do effects mean? And we just went
Exactly.
back and forth a couple of
You
times.
will- exactly.
long
You will
time.
you will learn where to go and what to look up to see, like, who does what and what can I do with certain values or points. And it just takes a bit of getting into, but it's good to read all of it really, or most of it, before you start, and then you can just figure out
Going
as you
back
go
and
along.
But yeah, we really recommend trying the objective challenge first, because the others were much more complex. And this is an objective challenge on 30 galleons, not
Exactly.
more than that. So
Because for other games, they might want you to also use these quest cards, or there's campaign cards as well. So there's a lot more different things you can do. But for this challenge, there's just like, get to the thing, and that solves it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot simpler than...
for now.
Exactly. For just figuring out what even to do with your characters and your spells, because that in itself is already a learning curve that you will have to go through.
Well, thanks for
Okay.
listening.
See you next time.
Keep on trying. We'll
Yeah,
speak to you
have
soon.
fun.
Bye.